Welcome to the Growth Blueprint Podcast, where we talk about the real journey from people, the leaders, the innovators, the entrepreneurs who have worked hard and dedicated their life to build something successful in their own industry. Today's guest is very special. The lady who has worked tirelessly day and night with her dedication, hard work, and vision, she has built her own medical practice and a successful business. Without any delay and without any fail, let me introduce Pinkal Gandhi. Pinkal has been working in nurse practitioner practice and she has built her own clinic here in London. Welcome, Pinkal, to the show.
Thank you so much, Tina, for having me on this show. It's a great opportunity to be here and speak about my experience.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your time. So, Pinkal, let us know more about yourself. What do you do and where is your practice?
So, I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm a primary healthcare nurse practitioner and in Ontario. And I've been practicing nursing since 2009, but became a nurse practitioner in 2016. And currently, I have my two clinics in London, Ontario, where I do a lot of primary care, rheumatology focused care, and also minor surgery.
Okay, that's very exciting. So, what bring into the business? What bring into the entrepreneurship when you started working? I believe you were employee at that time, and what was the turning point where you became employer and entrepreneur?
That is a great question. My journey started in 2009 when I first got my license as a registered nurse after completing my Bachelor of Science in Nursing from York University. After that, in a couple of years, I decided to go ahead. Oh, by the way, I was an employee at the hospital. I had experience in variety of settings, such as long-term care home, community homes, where I visited patients in their home to provide wound care, IV antibiotics. And then I also moved on to the hospital where I took the step up the ladder by working in the subacute medicine unit initially and then going into the cardiology floor. While going through that, I also completed my additional certification in the field that I was interested in. And one of the certification was doing foot care nursing because there I did see a lot of need for nursing foot care, especially when the patients were in the hospital and their feet were neglected, not because they wanted to, just because they did not know who to reach out to have their feet taken care of. So I decided to go ahead and do the certification for the nursing foot care. And that was my initial step into the entrepreneurship. And during that time, after I went and did my certification, I started to provide nursing foot care to people in their homes. I got contracts in the seniors nursing homes where I did the foot care for the seniors while going through my full-time hospital employment. So I was working full-time at the hospital, and at the same time, in my days off, I started to provide nursing foot care to my clients.
That's amazing. So you had two jobs to take care of. One while you are already employed, and on the side you're building your own business. So how the transition happened? I understand you were more loaded with the hours at that point of time. When was the time when you decided, when was the trigger point you decide that, okay, no more, working for anybody and people need my service because you are into the service industry and you want to just get on with the entrepreneurship?
Right. So what happened was, while I was still working full time at the hospital and doing this nursing foot care on the side, I also got admitted into my master's of nurse practitioner program. This was around 2011. So at that point, I tried to struggle through working full time, doing my nursing foot care on the side, and still take the course load of master's nurse practitioner program. But there came a point where I just could not do it anymore. Mind you, by this time I had two little daughters, and one of the younger one was only about a year
I
old.
was about to come there. Yeah.
So I'm trying to do this full-time job. I'm trying to, because my clientele are building, my nursing foot care clients, they do the referral and I'm getting more and more clients. And then at some point I decided, okay, I didn't quit right away. I went part-time. I told my manager, I can't do the full-time job anymore. I need to go part-time so I can focus on my master's at the same time doing my business on the side. And eventually there came a point where I just got so busy doing foot care and my coursework that I decided I was going to quit my hospital job. And that was the last time I ever worked for an employer as a registered nurse. Yeah. So that
That's
was
amazing.
that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So when you talk about, you are a mother of two daughters, and I was going to come there. How was your transition or the journey where you are balancing your family life, building your own business, handling multiple hats as an entrepreneur and a mom? How did you juggle? Like, just out of curiosity.
So it was not easy at all. Sometimes going back to working in the hospital, my shifts were 12 hours days, 12 hours night, and then 5 days off. So oftentimes I was already sleep deprived because my kids were little and then had to go and work night shifts at the hospitals as well. And when I would be home during the day, my daughter would be home too, even though I had my family taking care of my daughter. But if my daughter knew that I was home, she still wanted me. So sleep deprivation was a big part. It was very tough. And at the same time, I also wanted best for my daughter. So even though after I had left my employment, I was still, and I was trying to do my master's coursework, I was still trying to be there for my daughters too. So I didn't want them to be deprived of any extracurricular activities while they went to the school. So they would go to the school. I would still take them to their extracurricular activities, but then I would find some time at night to work on my future projects or to work on my schedule for the next day, not just for the coursework, but also for the clients. So it I don't know how I did it, but I guess when you are so motivated to do something better for yourself, something just drives you and you don't let any obstacles come in your way.
Right. You probably convert your obstacles into the opportunity and
Absolutely.
be more focused. I think that's where it leads
Yes,
you towards.
that's correct.
Right. So if you have to start your own brand again, let me ask you that way. If you have to go back from zero, what would differently, like what is something that you will do differently than what you have done so far?
So I don't know if I can change anything, to be honest, because everything I learned has added, it was an opportunity to grow. If in 2010, if I had given the opportunity, so by the way, coming forward right now, what I do is I'm as a nurse practitioner currently, I offer much more advanced services than doing the simple foot care back then about 15 years ago. So currently I do the minor surgical procedures. I do the aesthetic procedures. I do primary care. I help people with weight loss management. But all of this has been building curve. I did not know back then, 15 years ago, that this is where I want to end up with. But as I started to put efforts into learning more and more and more, I started to build my clientele in that area as well because I found the need in the certain situation. So let's say 15 years ago, if somebody had told me, or even let's say when I got my nurse practitioner license in 2016, and somebody gave me a ready-made clinic saying, go ahead, you can do the biopsy. This is your clinic. You can go ahead and do the biopsy for the patients, or you can go remove the cyst for the patients and do the weight management for the patient. I would have been a huge failure because all of this was a learning curve along the way. It was all building, even in terms of business itself. 2016 was when I opened my first commercial location. Remember, I was just doing home visits, going home to home and people's home to do the foot care. 2018 actually. 2018 was when I had my first commercial location. It was small room in a pharmacy. I was doing my own sterilization. I was doing my own booking. I did not have a commercial phone like I have now. I was booking clients through my cell phone. I had a paper book that where I was booking. It was a scheduler, and now I have a computer system to book the patients. So I was doing everything myself. But as I grew or as I felt the need, I hired more staff and I hired bookkeeper. I hired more nurses to take care of the patients that to meet the need of the foot care, as well as I hired my assistant to help me with the minor surgeries. So throughout this, if somebody had given me all of this in 2018, because of that lack of experience, I wouldn't have known how to handle all of this from the base. So I don't think I would have changed anything. I think this learning curve was important for me to take step by step and incorporate it into my practice as I grew and as I had more capacity to take care of more people.
Right. So when you're talking about, building your base, and it definitely looks like you worked in detail to build a structure where you have different staffing system in place now. As an entrepreneur, what would be your advice to give it to somebody when they are working towards establishing something, building their own brand, and how you can master in delegating task or having a good support system or a structure or a strategy, how you can master that, which can probably help you to leverage more.
So anybody who is wanting to open their own clinic and have a staff, if they have not done any business before, I would say start small. I think that is the best thing that happened to me because currently anything that happens in my business, I know how to handle it if that person was not there. As I said, I did my own scheduling in before. I learned the software to do the scheduling before I had my receptionist, before I had hired the receptionist. So I know how to work that schedule inside out. Before I hired my first foot care nurse to take care of my patient, I knew how to personally do the foot care myself. If the nurse had any issue with taking care of that patient's feet or didn't recognize what to do next, I was there, I'm there how to solve the problem. If the patient needs a referral, I'm there to understand that, okay, this patient is in need of referral for further management by a specialist, and I have the capacity for that. So if somebody was to start out their own clinic, I would say that they should gradually master the skill themselves and start small. It doesn't have to be big fancy clinic with 5 rooms and receptionist and a computer, everything all at once, unless they have that kind of experience already. If somebody wanted to start their own clinic, I would probably start with a small room, um, master the skills themselves, and probably reinvest their earnings or their profit back into the business to grow their business from there. And I feel that that would set them up for higher success compared to investing a lot of money upfront, not knowing what the potential is for the business.
Right.
As well as I would say that when a new clinician is looking to open their own business, they should do the market search and see what the need is, what people are looking for. And if you are meeting people's demand or your community's demand, there is a higher chance that the clinic would be successful. And one more thing is, from the get-go, you should never lose patients' trust or your customers' trust. So building trust is essential into building your own brand. So when you're starting a new clinic, one should focus on providing the customer service and providing the truthful and trustworthy service so that their customers may refer their friends and their families to your clinic, to your business.
Right. That's a very good tip, actually. So building a brand, your advice is more towards building a trust, and that is where you will lean towards building your own brand.
Absolutely. There have been times that I have taken a loss in my business only because if even the customer was wrong, I felt that I felt I was right because the customer had any sense of mistrust in me. I would like to clear that, and I will take a loss over that and ensure that customer leaves happy.
Correct.
So just because, not because customer is trying to take advantage of me, because in customers' opinion or customers, how do I say this? The customer may have felt that the service was not what they expected.
Right.
So I would try to sort that.
Right. Right. And that's very important when you are in any sort of service industry.
Exactly.
Right. What is the giveaway tip you would like to put out there to our audience, keeping the clinical side aside, on a different side? What would be the tip you will give to the entrepreneur who is thriving in any sort of industry at this point of time?
The tip to give the entrepreneur, I would say, don't wait for the perfect moment. If you want to do something, if you want to open a business, there's never a perfect moment. You just start where you are, even if it's small, even if you don't feel fully ready, you will never be fully ready. Don't wait for that perfect moment. Just jump in, provide for service to your first customer, and keep doing that persistently. Don't give up. If you are passionate about something, if you truly believe your product or service is benefit to your community, keep going with it. Keep putting your effort into it. It will grow. It will happen. You don't have to have a perfect moment, perfect connections, perfect timing. Just go with your guts, jump into it, and things will work out.
That's very well said. Basically, listen to your own instinct and then focus on your growth, or focus on your dream.
Yes.
When we talk about the medical side of it now, aesthetic industry, there are different talks out there where people say being comfortable in your own skin, right? And be happy where you are. Then why, out for the curiosity, why the medical aesthetic is so popular, in demand, and what drives people into this service? Why there are so many clinics and why they are so busy. Like, what is out there? Where is the gap?
Okay. So I'll tell you, when you're saying medical aesthetics, you're referring to the Botox and dermal fillers.
Yes.
Botox is the service where it helps reduce the wrinkles on the face, whereas dermal fillers are the treatments where people can get augmentation or for their volume loss on their face, their lips, their chin, and these services that used to be a major part of plastic surgery, but now a lot of it's being offered by nurses and nurse practitioners and physicians, general physicians. Why there is such a drive for that? I would say people nowadays, they are first of all living longer, and
which is great.
Which is great. They are healthier. I mean, there are parts to it, but they are more aware of their so for them, age is just a number. They are working out more. They're taking care of their body more. They're more energized. They're more youthful from inside. Back were the days when a 50-year-old would be considered an older woman or older man or senior. Now, 50-year-old is not a senior. 50-year-old is still young. But then, because of the biological clock, the signs of aging starts to show up on their face. But they don't necessarily fit into their circle when they have such a young mind or young heart. Sometimes I get customers saying that they have a job opportunity where their co-workers are all in their 20s or 30s, and this person is in their 50s, and they want to fit in, and they want to look, because they are so energetic and they are young at heart. They want to fit in. So that's why they seek aesthetic services. Sometimes people will do it for occasions. So just like people getting their hair done or makeup done or their nails done regularly just to feel good about themselves. Nowadays, people are coming in to get their Botox and fillers done just to feel good about themselves.
Right.
They don't do it for their husbands or their friends or because other people are doing it. They do it for themselves. They want to feel good about themselves, and they like seeing themselves in the mirror and matching with their inner soul. Their inner soul is young. They want to look the same on their face as well.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why a lot of my clients seek the aesthetic treatments.
That's very well said, actually. It's kind of a very positive way of looking where you're bridging a gap with what you feel like and how you want to present yourself. And that probably give a very good confidence to be, again, comfortable in your own skin.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Is there any particular tip that you would like to give it to our audience today?
So for the entrepreneurs, I would say chase your dreams and go after it. Don't let anybody stop you. At the same time, be mindful. I wouldn't, if you have a dream to open a business, I wouldn't just quit your current job that is actually bringing money, but start something small on the side and then build from it. To the people, to the viewers, I, I'm not sure what to say, but in terms of if you're looking for any dermatology services or aesthetic services, there are providers out there, and you can get the treatments done because they're readily available in London and area.
Thank you so much, Pinkal, for your time. Thank you for being here. It was really wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina.
Thank you, everyone. And for more podcast details, stay tuned.